Hello and welcome back to North East Nostalgic. I'm escaping the northeast of England today, heading over to Chesterfield to see the Barrowhill Roundhouse, Britain's last surviving railway roundhouse. After a 2.5-hour car journey, it was time to explore this historic gem. The outside looked a bit unassuming, but I can't wait for you to see what's inside. It cost £8 per person for entrance to the Roundhouse and exhibitions, including demonstration of the signal box and the turntable itself. There were several time slots, so plenty of time to be able to explore every nook and cranny of the museum. Formerly known as Staveley Engine Shed, this is where the engine men would have reported for work from 1870 to 1991. The foreman would have sat at this desk, and the clock and machine to the right would have been used to account for the working hours of the day. Engine men would have reported to one of the windows here to be told by the foreman their jobs for the day. There were specially made cottages near the engine shed for the workers to live in, being much better quality than the standard housing available. Each cottage had a garden for the workers to enjoy, being an early adopter of the model village. And now it was time to see the Roundhouse. The Barrowhill Roundhouse was built in 1870 at a cost of £16,445, 4 shillings and 9 pence. It was used for over 100 years to maintain and repair steam and diesel locomotives for the Midland Railway, Staveley Iron Company and the North Derbyshire coalfields. This chalkboard displays all the names of the engines that are within the Roundhouse. I didn't realise so many locomotives would be in such a small space. Walking near the turntable gave the most amazing views of the locomotives lined up, from steam to diesel. This shed was an efficient way of storing the locomotives, allowing easy access to them and enabling them to be turned around. As steam locomotives don't have a driving cab in each side, they need help to be turned round to go back into service. This structure just outside the door was nicknamed the Spider, and is a sand hopper that was used to provide diesel locomotives with sand for slippery tracks. Unfortunately, it didn't work too well, as condensation caused the sand inside to become damp and clog up the pipes.
Was delivered by rail, hauled by steam locomotive. The six-wheeled 3F was a common sight on the local lines, like this one that meandered through Nottinghamshire's coalfields. For an entire freight train, as long as it had a guard.
The guard was in charge of the train. The reason that he was in charge of the train was in case there was a derailment or an accident, the guard had to protect the train.
The guard was there because the driver needed all his concentration just to control the train.
For the passenger train, you've got a continuous brake. But with these, you've only got the brake on the end here.
And going uphill, they'd all snatch apart and could even break away.
The area where you could have a train at 60 new winding on 3 different gradients. So it was very, very skillful.
Once again, the job was made easier by the guard, who controlled a handbrake in his van at the rear.
When you were going down the down gradient, it was up to the guards to apply.
man who has to scrape the clinker from the inside of the firebox has a very unusual job. They only let you do this for 10 minutes at a time. Regulations won't allow any longer because of the heat and the lack of air. You'll find it's quite long enough.
These shear legs would have been used as a jack to lift one end of a locomotive off its wheels so it could be maintained. Changing wheels was often the heaviest job in the shed, with 4 men having to turn the winding gear. This mound of earth that takes us at an elevated level is all that is left of the coaling stage. Locomotives would have been filled with coal here prior to leaving the depot. It was nearly 11 o'clock, so we made our way over to the signal box for the guided tour. Originally located beside the level crossing on Station Road in Pinxton, this signal box was saved from demolition and relocated to Barrowhill, where it was restored. It was classified as a Midland Railway Type 2B and started operating in 1897, replacing the Pinxton station signal box. The signal box provides a unique bird's eye view of the site, with guided tours of the signal box being run by the Roundhouse volunteers at certain times throughout the day. Up the metal steps we went into the signal box. Once inside, we were greeted by lots of multicoloured levers on one side, as well as incredible views of the railway down below.
So it was basically sawn in two just underneath the floor and lifted onto 2 low loaders brought here. It's very much a work in progress. What we're going to try, what the signalling engineer's done is recreated this diagram from the arrangement we've got here, because it's sort of like a mechanical computer. It's all interlocked, so you can't do certain things if you've done something else. But he's recreated this. This isn't the original diagram. This is something he's recreated to match what it's the railway's own system, and there's thousands of codes. And if you're a signalman, you've got to know. So what you do?
What's that noise?
What's that? It's me talking.
Oh, banging.
Always a shooting range over there. They don't shoot at us very often. we used to get peppered with clay pigeons when we were laying the track to shoot. So if we were expecting an express track, say an express train that was going straight through, how would you go? And it's called attention. Really, they call it "Are you awake?" So, could you just press that button and bring you on back? Yeah. So you would reply, "Yes, I'm here." So how would they say to you? We're going to say there's an express train going straight through. So I would go, and then you would reply with that. That's it. Then we all know what we're going to do. So what we do now is start and set the signals to allow it through. Stop ball number 2. So that would have changed the signal from stop to go on a semaphore. So now we would say, right, well, we'll pull the next signal. It won't let me. It won't let me because this on the end is a level crossing. So there's a level crossing we're going across, so we're going to stop traffic before we let the train through. Notice this one's slightly shorter than the others. So it's powered, this one, it's not a mechanical one, it's electrical. So that the motor will now have
What was that noise?
shut the gate. That's it, right, that's it. So far, so good. Then you can then pull number 3. That will go now. So right, the train can now so we're now going to tell him that we've got a train online. So we're going to just ring. We'll go. So that's now got a train online. So we're now going to let him through. That's another short one, but that's not a signal. That's nothing to do with that. It's not driving a motor, it's driving a light. So that will change that light from red to green. So away you can go.
I'm just gonna go in.
And then we also communicate by these here. So we can turn that to train online. Don't bother. That's it. So that's now, should have been repeated over there. It has. Right, so from both signal boxes now that know there's a train online.
Train's going.
So that train would go through, and you would have to watch it go. You'd see the loco go through, and you must see the light on the last coach or wagon. Then you know it hadn't come apart halfway through, and there's still nothing on the line.
Not yet.
The guided demonstration lasted about 20 minutes, and it was so interesting to learn about the manual signals that were actioned here to allow the smooth running of the Midland Railway. A reimagined map of the lines gives us an idea of where the signals would have taken place, as well as seeing the personal effects of the signalmen that would have worked in this small room. To the side of the Roundhouse is the Deltic Depot and Museum, which is home to the Deltic Preservation Society. The Society is dedicated to the preservation and restoration of the remaining Class 55 Deltic diesel locomotives, which were operated by British Rail from the 1960s to the 1980s. Visitors can marvel at the group's historic locomotives being overhauled or prepared for mainline duties. Huge diesel engines alongside their numbers are displayed around the shed, once being locomotives long ago. There is currently 3 out of the 6 surviving Deltics within the shed, with only a total of 22 being built for British Rail in 1961 to 1962. They were used on the East Coast Main Line out of King's Cross. By the late 1970s, the Class 55 Deltic diesel locomotives were being replaced by new intercity 125 trains, with the last examples being taken out of service in 1982. A few years later, a small group decided on a long-term aim to preserve a working Deltic locomotive, and the Deltic Preservation Society was born. You can actually go and have a look inside this locomotive. It was a bit of a squeeze, but there was a compartment to the right where the train drivers would have operated the controls. I actually got a bit of a fright at this point, as there was a man working on the inside of the front of the train. The back compartment had a large diagram, which looks to have something to do with the engine. The Deltic Preservation Society is looking to build on its success as a leading locomotive preservation society, aiming to preserve its locos for many years to come. This purpose-built depot was constructed here at Barrowhill in 2003 to house the locos, and it goes quite well with other railway themed things here too. And then it was time for a quick wander to the Roundhouse to wait for the turntable demonstration. Did you know that the turntable has been replaced twice in its history? The present structure is 54 feet, 8.5 inches in diameter, and was constructed by Cowans of Sheldon in 1931. Around the turntable are 24 roads or pits, with the longest being 75 feet 8 inches and the shortest being 51 feet. The smoke hoods above the locomotives would have helped to keep the air as clean as possible for the workers, allowing smoke to be carried outside. Inside this wagon was an exhibition still being finished, exploring the history of Chesterfield's wagons and how they were used to transport fish and other local goods.
name. It was the last one in situ, still doing the job it was supposed to do, up until 1991, when the depot closed. I think this is the third turntable that's been in this pit. When it originally went in, it was completely manually operated. There's a handle like this on the other corner, and you swing it out, push it round. Then they added the drive platform on this corner here. It was originally powered by the vacuum, off the vacuum brakes on the load guns, so the steam engines, the early diesels all had vacuum. There was a motor stuck out here, coupled it onto there, drove it round. Which also gave an easier way of doing it by hand.
That's where it gets to.
That's it, that'll do. Obviously any Weetabix this morning. Right, so when they stopped using vacuum for brakes and went on to air, they electrified this. The supply comes into the middle in that round box, and there's a series of brass rings and some carbon brushes follow it round and bring the power down to the control box there. 18 down. Can't move sideways and can't move up down. Two big steel bars come out the side. If you look on the other side of the turntable, you can see where there's some ridges round the other side. That's where they go in. Most of the weight of whatever's on the turntable is taken in the centre. There's a big steel column comes up with a dome top. It's covered in brass. And on the turntable itself, there's a cup that's also covered in brass. And there's an oil feeder in between. So that carries the weight. The wheels on the end are basically backwards. Now, it's traditionally left in the straight through position because the yard is on a slight slope. And they always said if anything ran away, they'd rather it went straight through the roundhouse and out back to an area of scrubland they used to call the garden. It'd be easy to get one out the garden and get it out of the pit. We have seen a photo of a diesel down just the nose end down the pit. It took them 3 days to get it out. They had to just keep jacking it up, packing it under with sleepers, jack it up some more. It took them 3 days. We put some derailers on the lines outside now so nothing can get straight through. Nothing can go in. Any questions?
I really enjoyed coming along to the Barrowhill Roundhouse and learning about the heritage of Chesterfield and the surrounding areas. There is so much amazing heritage across the UK to explore and experience. After exiting the museum, I discovered this little train platform to the side, which is really pretty. I wonder if they occasionally do heritage train rides for events, as I can imagine that this would look great for a 1940s weekend like Springwell Village. I really hope you enjoyed this adventure out to Barrowhill Roundhouse in Chesterfield. It was something a little bit different from the typical heritage places that I go to all the time in the northeast. Please like and subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, and let me know your recommendations of where to go next. And I'll see you soon.